Okay, so for our first problem of solving for y, I just kind of want to do a couple of reminders. Remember, we are still solving even though we have both an x and a y in our problem, so we're still using all of our same opposites we talked about earlier: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Well, now we're just, instead of getting nice pretty answers like x equal to 5, we're going to get y equals to some expression. But other than that, kind of your same idea. Our goal for all of these problems that we're doing right now is to get this y by itself, or to isolate the y. So the first thing we want to start moving is actually our x, because we want to get, our goal is to get him by himself. So we always move our things that are added or subtracted first, and then do, again, last thing is division. So that means on this problem we are going to subtract 12x from both sides. Now notice that when I put the 12x over here on the right hand side, I don't put him directly under the 14, because I can't actually add these two together, because he's a 14 and he's a 12x. So they are not like terms. But I do want to put him over here on the right hand side with the 14. So what ends up happening is I have negative 2y equals 14 minus 12x. Now I put the 14 first. There's not a rule about which one you need to put first. You can put either one of those. It's perfectly fine. Now we're going to get rid of this negative 2. This negative 2 is multiplied by y, so to get rid of him we are going to divide. So let's divide by negative 2. And divide by negative 2. Notice that when I did my division over here, I did divide the entire statement by negative 2. Now here our negative 2's are going to cancel. So we're going to have y equal. And then we're going to take this negative 2 and we're going to divide it into both of those numbers, because negative 2 will divide into both 14 and it will divide into negative 12. So 14 divided by negative 2 would give us 7. Negative 12 divided by negative 2 would give us a positive 6x. Excuse me, 14 divided by negative 2 is negative 7. I think I said it, but didn't write it down. So be real careful on those negatives. It's real easy to drop them. Alright, so let's look at the second problem. Now, it may look a little bit different, but it's actually pretty much the same problem as the first one. The only difference is you have this divided by 2, but we know that the opposite of division is multiplication, so what we can do to start is actually multiply both sides by 2. What that's going to do over here on the left hand side is that's actually going to cancel those 2's out, so we won't have any 2's over there anymore, and we would have 4x minus 3y equal to negative 14. So now what we're going to do, just like we did in the previous problem, we want to move this 4x over to the other side. So we're going to subtract 4x since it's a positive. Again, I'm going to make sure that I put that out kind of to the side, because I can't actually add or subtract the negative 14 and the negative 4x. So we're going to end up with negative 3y equals negative 14 minus 4x. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to divide by that negative 3, because he's multiplied by my y. So I'm going to divide this whole thing by negative 3. Now in the previous problem where we had the 2, it divided into both the 14 and the 12. But in this case, 3 doesn't divide into 14, 3 does not divide into 4. So we actually can't reduce that any more than what it is. So we can put y equals negative 14 minus 4x all divided by negative 3. Now the other option that you can do to kind of, if you don't like all of those negatives, because every single one of these guys is negative, you could rewrite this as all positives. Basically you're multiplying or dividing out just the negative 1. So it would end up being 14 plus 4x over a positive 3. So again, because every single one of these is negative, we can reverse them all and make them all positive. It's a kind of cool little trick. However, either one of these answers would be considered correct. Okay, so let's look at question number 3 here, which is actually the exact same problem. I just wanted to give you one more go around with these fractions because I know sometimes they can be a little bit scary. So here we have a negative 3 in our denominator that's dividing into our numerator of negative 10x plus 5y. But again, the opposite of dividing is multiplication, so I can come over here and multiply by negative 3 both top and bottom. So my negative 3's are going to cancel each other out over here on the left hand side, and that's going to leave us with negative 10x plus 5y equals negative 15. So the next thing we're going to do, just the same as we've been doing, we're going to move that negative 10x. So this time, since he's a minus 10, we're going to plus him, so add 10x to both sides. Again, putting them off to the side because I can't actually add the negative 15 and the 10x. So 5y equals negative 15 plus 10x. And then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to get rid of that 5. So we're going to divide everything by 5. And hopefully you notice, again, kind of like the previous one, this 5 will divide evenly into 15. It will divide evenly into 10. So we're going to actually reduce that. So we're going to have y equals, when we do negative 15 divided by 5, that's going to give us a negative 3. And then we're going to do 10 divided by 5, which would give us a positive 2x. So y equal to negative 3 plus 2x would be our answer for question number 3. So let's look at our next one. So those kind of were all just similar to each other. They all just had an x or a y. But our next one, you notice it's going to have an x squared in it. So in this particular problem, we have 2x squared minus 4y equals 12. Now what I want you to understand is that there's really no difference between 2x squared or just an x. It's not y, we're trying to solve for y, so that's what we're trying to get by itself. So we just need to move this whole term over to the other side. So we're going to subtract 2x squared from both sides. And again, I'm going to put them out here to the side because I can't actually add the 12 and the negative 2x squared. So now we have negative 4y equals 12 minus 2x squared. Again, all you're really doing with that 2x squared is taking him from the left-hand side and putting him over onto the right-hand side. So now we're going to get rid of that negative 4. Again, that's multiplication, so we're going to use division. And I'm going to divide everything by negative 4. So our negative 4's here on this side are going to cancel, which is going to give us y. Now, unlike the previous two problems where we were able to reduce it, this one does not divide out evenly. And it does have to divide out to both of the terms evenly to be able to do this. But if you'll notice, 12, 2, and negative 4 are all divisible by negative 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in here and you're going to divide every single one of these by 2. Because that is the largest number that all three of those can be divided by. So 12 divided by 2 is going to give us 6, minus 12 divided by 12 is just going to be x squared. And then negative 4 divided by 2 will be negative 2. This is our answer in its most reduced format. Alright, so again, the next one I put in here, just because I want you to kind of get used to seeing those square roots of x's or even a cube root of x. So if we want to solve for y, there's basically two things in this problem we need to get rid of before we can divide by 7. We need to get rid of this square root of x, and we need to get rid of this 2x. These two terms both need to be moved over here onto the right-hand side with our x squared and our 4. I'm going to do this one at a time, but you can certainly do these at the same time. I'm going to start with this square root of x. So since it's a minus square root of x, to move it, I'm going to add the square root of x to both sides. Add the square root of x. So that's going to give us 7y plus 2x equals 4 minus x squared plus the square root of x. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move our 2x. So to move the 2x, what we need to do is subtract 2 from both sides, or 2x, excuse me. Again, notice I'm putting a math here on the end because he's not like the x squared, since the x squared has that exponent of 2. He's not like the square root of x, so he's his own special term. So we've got 7y equals 4 minus x squared plus the square root of x minus 2x. We're almost done. We only have one more thing to do, and that is to divide by that 7 in front of that y. So we're going to do that small division over here, but on the right hand side you need to make a big fraction. All 4 of those terms are being divided by 7, and we can't reduce that at all, so we're going to leave it in that big fraction. We're going to say y equals 4 minus x squared plus the square root of x minus 2x, all divided by 7. And this would be our answer for that particular problem.